Have you ever actually stopped to count how many separate apps you tap open just to organize like a simple weekend trip? I mean, think about it. You check a calendar app to confirm your dates, swap over to a banking app to check your budget, open a travel app for flights, another one for hotels, and then maybe a search engine to find things to do. We live in an app economy that has completely transformed our technology by putting millions of services right in our pockets. But what if I told you we're on the verge of a massive and frankly deeply relieving shift? Welcome to this explainer on the invisible future of apps. Today we're breaking down some incredibly fascinating research that suggests the way we interact with our phones is about to fundamentally change. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for the massive paradigm shift we're unpacking today. First, we'll look at the app economy today, then enter the AI agent, how these agents actually work, the invisible app infrastructure, the inevitable risks and roadblocks, and finally, what this new digital future looks like.
Starting with Section 1, the app economy today, and the current state of our smartphones.
To really figure out where we're going, we kind of have to look at where we've been, right? The way humans interact with computers has changed in a few massive leaps over the years. Back in the 1980s, it was the command line. You literally had to manually type out specific code commands just to get the machine to do anything. Then the 90s and 2000s brought graphical interfaces, where we finally got to just click menus and icons with a mouse. Fast forward to 2007 and beyond, and we enter our current era, mobile apps. We tap applications on our screens to get things done. But our next massive leap, that is the AI agent. Instead of tapping a screen, users will simply describe their goals, and the AI goes ahead and completes the tasks. This has the potential to become the biggest change in computing since the invention of the smartphone itself. 5. Just think about this number for a second. Right now, to get a single, common chore done, you might easily open up to 5 separate apps: calendar, bank, travel, shopping, search. We are constantly juggling platforms, manually moving data in our heads from one app to the next. It's an utterly exhausting, high-friction way to manage our digital lives, even if we've somehow just grown completely used to the fatigue.
Which brings us to Section 2. Enter the AI agent, our new digital disruptor.
So, an AI agent isn't just some fancy search bar. It's a system that can understand a complex goal, break that goal down into actionable steps, use digital tools, make decisions within certain limits, and actually complete the actions on your behalf. This is absolutely crucial to understand. Unlike older tech that was essentially just a talking system, spitting out text or giving you instructions, an AI agent is a working system. It's built from the ground up around taking independent action. Now, there's this massive myth out there that AI agents are just glorified chatbots. But let's look at the actual differences here. A standard app requires you to manually take actions and has zero autonomy. A traditional chatbot can give you information, say instructions on how to book a flight, but it usually can't take the action for you. An AI agent, however, strongly understands your goals, takes actions directly, and works partly autonomously. It entirely bridges the gap between getting information and actually getting the chore done.
All right, Section 3, how AI agents work. Let's see the magic in action.
Let's contrast two vastly different experiences. Today, if you want to book a trip, you're opening Google Flights, a hotel app, a map application to check distances, and your calendar to confirm dates. It is entirely manual and tedious. The near future, however, is driven by a single prompt. You literally just tell your agent, plan my business trip to Singapore next week under my budget, and that's it. Once you give that single prompt, the AI agent basically takes the wheel and autonomously runs through all these steps behind the scenes. First, it searches the flights. Then it compares the options against your stated budget, checks your personal preferences, like maybe you prefer aisle seats or specific hotel chains, requests your final approval to make sure everything looks good, and finally, executes the booking. The agent is interacting with all those different services, so you just don't have to. And hey, this goal-oriented logic applies to almost everything, including shopping. Imagine saying, find me a laptop under $1,000 for video editing. Today, you'd be bouncing between Amazon, retail websites, maybe some tech review blogs. But an AI agent, it automatically researches the products, compares the reviews across the web, checks prices to stay under your $1,000 limit, and presents you with the absolute best options to buy. Basically, it ensures you don't accidentally buy a $1,000 potato. It's doing the heavy lifting of research and comparison completely autonomously. Moving on to Section 4, the invisible app infrastructure. The big question. Will apps completely disappear? The short answer, no.
The future isn't a world where apps just vanish into thin air. Instead, the AI becomes the interface, the primary way humans interact with technology. The apps, meanwhile, become the infrastructure. They fade into the background, powering the services silently while the AI acts as your front-of-house concierge. This dynamic right here is the very essence of the invisible future of apps.
The research here gives a really balanced view on why traditional apps are absolutely going to stick around behind the scenes. First, apps control incredibly valuable systems. Banks, airlines, retailers, they own the core data and the underlying services. AI agents will still need to access those specific platforms via APIs to actually get anything done. Second, there's the massive issue of trust and security. You need a highly secure, controlled environment when you're dealing with spending money or accessing sensitive private data. And third, some complex experiences simply demand a dedicated manual interface. An AI can buy you a video editing laptop for sure, but you're still going to want a dedicated, complex application to actually edit the video yourself or play a high-end game. So the physical relationship model is literally shifting. Currently, the flow is human to app to service. You are the one manually driving the app to get what you want. In the future model, it's human to AI agent. The agent then branches out to interact with multiple apps, which in turn connect to the final services. The AI layer is inserted directly between us and our applications, making the apps themselves virtually invisible to the user.
Section 5. Risks and roadblocks and the challenges ahead.
Now, these are definitely not small roadblocks. First up, privacy. For an AI agent to be truly useful, it needs access to your emails, your calendar, your financial info, and that is a massive privacy concern. Then there's security. An agent with permission to spend your money is a prime target for hackers or unauthorized actions. Third is the risk of AI errors. An AI can easily misunderstand your goals. The research gives a fantastic example of this. If you tell the AI to book me the cheapest hotel, it might optimize purely for price and confidently book you into a truly terrible, dangerously low-quality room right next to a noisy highway, just because it lacked basic human common sense. Furthermore, there's a real risk of over-reliance, where we kind of just lose our own judgment. And finally, market control. A few tech giants controlling these powerful assistants could heavily influence search, shopping, and the general flow of information. Which brings us to our final section, Section 6, the new digital future and what happens next. Let's look at how this builds out over time, because a huge myth is that apps will just vanish overnight. The reality is a much more gradual timeline. In the short term, expect AI assistants to just get much better at scheduling, research, and basic productivity tasks. In the medium term, we'll start to see agents integrated deeply into the operating systems of our phones and workplace software. And in the long term, well, that's when we see the big transition, where the interface itself shifts away from a grid of colorful squares and into a fluid, personal AI operating system.
Which leaves us with this final, profound question to really chew on. Next time you pull your phone out of your pocket and stare at all those little app icons, ask yourself, how long until this device shifts from being a mere collection of apps into your own completely personal AI operating system? The invisible future of apps is a lot closer than we think, and it's absolutely going to change how we interact with the digital world forever. Thanks so much for joining me to unpack this research today. Keep questioning the tech in your pocket, and I'll see you in the next explainer.